Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC Vegas 58. Rafael Dos Anjos taking on Rafael Fiziev. Man, we had a debate on how to pronounce that last name, so we're probably going to keep alternating back and forth. But this lightweight contender match, right? We can say this is a contender matchup. This
I
lightweight
would say
contender
so.
matchup, yeah, is really very interesting. Was previously booked once before, but we finally, hopefully, get it this weekend, right? And this is a pretty greasy, sketchy, interesting card. Um, what's up, Daz? But before we can get to the chat and before we can get to these awesome fights, we have an awesome guest in the building. A really, really fun guy, a smart guy, somebody that's out there, hasn't necessarily been in the game a super long time per se, but I'm telling you right now, he's making waves. And more important than the waves, he's making money. We got Erik Bets Fights in the building. What is up, my friend?
Thanks so much for having me, guys. This is awesome. Yeah, I usually do most of my breakdowns. I usually do most of this stuff by myself. So I was watching you guys' show today and getting a feel for your. I was watching your show from last week, kind of getting a feel for the back and forth. And I'm like, man, I don't know, I don't quite have the level of the gift of gab you guys have, but I'm going to try to bring it. I'm going to do my best.
Hell yeah,
No,
hell
we
yeah, we love it.
yeah,
Man.
you do, man. You're a cool guy, man. We you and I talked a bit off air. You're really you do a lot of fun things in that personal life. So we're gonna have a good chat, man. This is what we love to do.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
man. We got Rafael versus Raphael. I mean, I always like to think about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but we're talking UFC fights, baby. Coming
Yes,
off
we
a pay
are.
per view, we're ready to go. I mean, this fight was actually scheduled a while ago, and instead we got the super short notice Renato Moicano coming in for the
Yeah, listen,
beatdown.
listen, 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 listen. Before I love your
Talk to me.
breakdowns, buddy, but I love your breakdowns more than I love your face. So if we could make us smaller and
Oh, see,
bring up those sexy stats.
see, see. We had to do something to keep the normal trends going here.
Yeah,
So
you,
we always love to have some road bumps along the way, but here you go, guys. I mean, you see it here. We got Rafael versus Rafael, Rafael versus Rafael. I mean, this main event is one that we've been waiting for a long time, and I think I know I planted my flag a long time ago, but I did the due diligence. I went back. Now we got this advanced stats outlook here. Started adding in some new stats. I know Guru likes those takedown attempts per 15 and the opponent takedown attempts per 15, almost like a little takedown pace. So
yes, sir.
yeah, I mean, so here we are, guys. I mean, we got this crazy main event coming up, and yeah, I think it's really the biggest test that Fiziev has faced so far. I think one, he's getting put in a 5 round fight here. Two, you're talking about Rafael dos Anjos. I mean, this guy is a serious threat, whether it's standing or on the ground. I mean, you're talking about a second-degree black belt jujitsu and someone that's very well versed in Muay Thai. So you talk about the background of Fiziev with his Muay Thai and all that, but I mean, Dos Anjos is right there too. So you end up looking down at some of the stats, but on tape, it's very important to say that Fiziev likes being on the back foot. RDA, he likes coming forward. Look at those pace numbers. I mean, we think of Fiziev as this crazy high output, flashy striker, and like, damn man, I mean, realistically, you see that Dos Anjos is outpacing him, by at least a strike per minute. Now, Dos Anjos is getting landed on it well from distance, where Fiziev's being outlanded too. I mean, you saw it in the Bobby Green fight. As the fight goes on, runs out of a little cardio. So really, the question here is: does Dos Anjos get his wrestling going, and can Fiziev stuff the takedowns and keep his gas tank alive to cruise to a decision? Because I mean, do you see it playing out where he should be winning the minutes on the feet? I mean, what do you think here, Guru?
It's a really, really interesting question because I feel like a lot of people have Rafael dos Anjos kind of labeled as like washed or, just kind of obviously he's not in his prime necessarily anymore at 37 years old. But I don't know. I'm not sure that washed is the right word because you look at his level of competition and it's been against generally the best in the world. Right. And the other thing that the UFC loves to do is they love to not give you any favors. So when they see a hole, they like to keep testing it to see if you've fixed it. So Rafael dos Anjos' biggest hole in his game is his defensive grappling. We've seen it time and time again. He struggled versus, which is not a surprise, but struggled versus Kamaru Usman, struggled versus Colby Covington, Leon Edwards, Michael Chiesa, right? All because of their offensive grappling and him getting taken down. What we don't expect to see from Fiziev is any wrestling here. This should be, kickboxing if Fiziev gets what he wants. What we've seen from RDA, however, is a willingness to, use his wrestling, use his offensive wrestling, go in the clinch and hold people there, right? So if he starts holding down Fiziev, who's not necessarily right, you look at his pace at distance, you look at your strikes landed per minute, and you go, oh, Fiziev lands more per minute. Well, not so fast. You look at the pace at distance, and RDA actually lands more strikes at distance per minute than Fiziev does. So Fiziev's tentativeness that we've kind of seen on the feet, it's been hard to exactly, depict or explain, is depicted in that stat there. He is at times, which is a good thing to be at times. He picks and chooses when he wants to throw his strike, which can be good if you're going to sit there and pick apart Dos Anjos. That's one way to cruise to a win. Or Dos Anjos can bring in those takedowns, start to make it dirty, start to wear on a guy that we haven't seen go 5 rounds and maybe have seen struggle a little bit with his cardio, right? So it's certainly an interesting take as we also look back at the last couple of weeks, Arman Sarukian, Calvin Kattar. Do you want to be holding these minus 200 tickets in fights that are gonna be close, right? So RDA landed 5 takedowns versus Renato Moicano, right? Like if he continues that kind of methodology, that game plan, it could be tough for Fiziev. See, now I'm going both ways. We got to defer to our guy, Erik. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, you guys both made a lot of really solid points and actually brought up some things I hadn't really thought about a ton yet too. But yeah, like I feel like most of the people, like most of the talk that I've heard about this fight so far has been not that people are treating it like 100% black and white, like a striker versus grappler matchup, but people are kind of discussing it that way a little bit more than they should, I think. And I think it was UTB that mentioned, like, it's not like RDA is necessarily entirely reliant upon the wrestling and grappling here. I mean, I think people are sort of thinking of like, okay, well, Rafael Fiziev obviously is an excellent striker, so Dos Anjos is not going to want to strike with him, and that's not necessarily the case. And looking at Rafael Fiziev's takedown numbers, he's been taken down I think once on 22 attempts. I mean, he's not the easiest guy in the world to take down. So I think that certainly can make a difference here, but I don't know that necessarily needs to be the story of the fight. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think we actually quickly looked into that, TB and I, because we were curious off air, right? How many of those were from Alex White? Was it 7?
11.
11.
I think
you
11,
had it. You had it right offhand, so you already knew.
And it's like drunkenly stumbling forward as he's being beaten to a pulp and still surviving to a decision. So what does that say about the power of Fiziev overall? I mean, sure, you knocked out Renato Moicano. I mean, good for you. But your other knockout in the UFC
doesn't knock out Renato Moicano, I guess.
Rafael
dos Anjos doesn't.
I mean, but that head kick and then that ground and pound. I mean, I know a lot of other refs that would have stopped that fight. I mean, I think he gave Moicano a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there, which, to his credit, there you go. I mean, he made it all the way. But ultimately, I mean, like with this line at plus 180 Dos Anjos and minus 210 Fiziev, I'm simply laying the money line here. It's pretty simple. Give me plus 180. I'll take that, and I'll be sitting there in the main event. And I mean, if Fiziev is able to, go ahead and finish Dos Anjos, I mean, great. That's not something that I really see coming, at least not at a high probability. So you tell me that Dos Anjos just needs to win this fight at like a 40% rate here. I'll take that chance. Like that's definitely where I'm going. Easy money line. I don't even need a prop here because that's my dog of the day right at the top of the card here.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm like as sold. Maybe I'm just not as confident in general. But there's no chance I'm taking the fucking favorite. It's not happening. So dog or pass.
Okay. And Eric, so where do you ultimately end up on this one?
I do like Fiziev here, but yeah, I don't love the money line either. Like I do lean toward thinking that this might end up being one of those, not quite a passing of the torch moment, but I mean, how often do we see these kind of
Mm,
fights where RDA is 37 years old, where they set up these kind of fights and sometimes it backfires on them, but I do think this is one of those spots where,
mm.
like, I don't think RDA is completely washed, but I certainly outside of his prime, and I think Fiziev is just he's kind of in his spot right now where he's making it happen and probably moving into his prime. I do see Fiziev winning here.
Mm.
But yeah, like as far as if I was gonna bet one of them straight with where the lines are at right now, I like RDA more than Fiziev in that regard.
Yeah, I agree completely. And if I'm gonna take a bet on anything, I really do like FanDuel finally open their fucking lines. I like Rafael dos Anjos round 4-5 decision plus 290. That adds a little bit extra value onto that money line. I would be remiss to think that Rafael dos Anjos gets an early finish, in the second or third round or something. That would be crazy to me, right? He have to
Right. I
he have to
mean,
steal his back and get a sub or something.
sure. I just don't think it's out of the question that we see that round 3 head kick as Fiziev ultimately slows down. I mean, the dude's reliant on his
Wow.
kicking game, you know? So he's the guy throwing those front kicks. He's throwing a lot of body kicks. And those are high exertion, and the lower output he goes on those, and you've seen him actually go a little bit more to his boxing, and that's what's able to help him actually carry his cardio a little deeper. You see against Riddell in a little bit of a lower output fight, but that's what it is. It's technical. It's thinking. It's lower output. Like Dos Anjos is in your face the whole time, pushing the pace. So I think that's what ends up bringing it back. And Jew, yeah, maybe we're looking at some grandma's couch cushions on the decision
Literally,
here.
no, I honestly, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Jew, because this whole freaking card is grandma's couch cushion. I don't know how much of this card I'm looking to go to my actual bankroll for. There's a couple bets I think I do really like, but like most of this is greasy couch cushion fucking week, man. This is an interesting card for sure. Right?
Yeah,
Does
and
anybody feel the same way as me, or am I crazy?
no, I mean, listen, as I pull up this next fight here, as you see the names that are coming up, I mean, we're looking at two guys making their second UFC fight as the co-main event this week. So this is a weird fucking week. I don't think you're too far off on that, Guru.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, I just got a whole pizza delivered to me right now. I'm so excited.
Wow, you
Nice.
fat ass. Nice. I love that.
Probably.
Uh, yeah, so listen, we got our next fight here, our co-main event. We
I'm
got
definitely gonna
Kaio.
spill it by accident.
Real nice. Oh, baby, look at that.
Oh yeah.
Nice
All
little
right.
grandma pie over there. Hello. Nice
Yes,
little Linda.
sir.
How you doing?
Hey, how
So
you doing?
we got Caio Bahalio versus Armin Petrosian. This fight, I mean, we should be looking at fireworks no matter where it kind of plays out because, yeah, if Armin is going to be, at kickboxing range, we're going to see a lot of leg kicks. We're going to see a lot of volume. And we'll see, like a lot of movement. And, he's going to be on the back foot. Caio Bahalio, something's up with like the listings here because his reach, he's got 4 inches reach advantage, but they're saying he's 5'10"
He's
and
not
5 inches
5'10".
shorter. Like, there's no way, right? You saw that
No.
tweet? Yeah,
He's
there's no way, right?
he's like 6'1". Yeah, I
Yeah.
looked into this a little bit because I was like, there's no way he's 5'10". Sure Dog has him at 6'1".
Okay. All right. So we'll have to fix the fighter profile there because, yeah, I really didn't trust that. And I was like, something is sketchy. And I told Guru, I was like, before I'm really like, oh, the size differential this time, I was like, I really want to see Caio Bahalio weigh in and get that face off. So, yeah, there you go. That makes me feel a lot better. So, yeah, and we got a karate style fighter in Bahalio. So I think someone that knows a little bit about his in and out movement and kind of staying safe on the feet. You see, he is a bit low output. His pace of distance really isn't super high. But that's also in a super small sample size against someone that he was absolutely piecing up. And, this guy's coming out throwing big strikes, trying to catch up. And, he's just kind of playing with his food. So, yeah, stats can kind of lie when you get into these small sample sizes here. So I don't dig into that too much. But I do think if Bahalio gets Petrosian on the ground, that round's over, if not the fight. So I don't think Petrosian just stands up here like he has against his other competition. I think the body triangle and the ability to switch sides with it and just the overall control and strength of Bahalio, but the thing is he has to get there. So how many takedowns are we actually going to see overall? Because he likes reversing position. He likes playing from that way, and he is a karate guy. So this could just be a close fight on the feet. And we see our money line here minus 225 now on Bahalio, who opened up as like a minus 120, minus 130, and you see Petrosyan now plus 190. I mean, sheesh.
It's even wider on FanDuel. He's minus 250 on FanDuel with Petrosyan at plus 190.
Yeah. So that's where I start going to dig into the prop playbook, because you see a guy that just loves giving up his back when he goes to stand up, and Bahalio loves putting in that body triangle. And listen, I mean, Rodriguez got him in some crazy positions round 3. What if Bahalio starts doing that round 1? Then you get 2 rounds of being washed out. Next thing you know, it's rear naked choke time, or he goes to stand up and we're sinking in a guillotine, and he shoots for a single to reverse. I see Bahalio here, submission plus 330 as their least likely outcome for him. I think that, plus 330, you're getting some solid value there on a guy that's showing such high level grappling. Guru, I mean, tell me where I'm wrong here, my dude.
I don't know if I can confidently say anywhere that you're wrong, because we haven't. This may be like a relatively high level fight, but this is relatively low amounts of experience or eyes that we can actually get on these two fighters, because we really just don't know as much about them. We got 2 Dana White Contender Series fights, and in a Contender Series fight, future FC fights, they're tough, man. And for Petrosyan, the tape is even more difficult to come by, and the we've talked about it last time Petrosyan fought. The level of competition is suspect. It's really tough to know. But what I can tell you is that Petrosyan went to the distance for the first time, his last fight. Nobody said that fight, A, was going the distance, or B, that if it went the distance, that he'd have a damn shot in the freaking world. He won. And it was close. I don't we can Twitter argue all day long about he won this and more strikes. I don't know that it was a robbery. I think the fight was pretty freaking close, honestly. Like, I'm not mad at it. Now, again, maybe I was because I was on Petrosyan, but I'm really not mad at it. That's fair. And then similarly, Kyle Bahalio, right? For whatever reason, he's an underdog versus Omagajiev, who, oh my God, he's not that great of a wrestler. Like, he does not deserve to be a favorite in this spot. And everybody kind of smelt it by the end of the week, where that line where he was like plus 130 and it was kind of got to plus 100 by the time it closed. And he smashed the whole time. So now we get to this. So now we get to this fight, and I feel like we got like just a bit of this narrative brewing, where people are like, "Oh, this dog, he's so good. We'll give him a minus 250 here price tag." And then we got, "Oh, this guy didn't actually win this fight. We'll knock him down a peg." I'm not sold, and maybe I'm just a dog hunter now. Maybe I need to grab tinfoil and go hang out with Clint. I kind of, you know what I mean? I kind of like Armin here, like with the way that Kaio keeps his hands down low, and his defensive tactic to like just kind of back up and jerk his head. I don't know shit about boxing, but I know you're not supposed to like keep your chin up in the air and pull your shit back like that. Like, it's not good. And Armin is a world-class kickboxer and can absolutely catch him. So for that reason, I'm not laying minus 225, minus 250 on this guy. I think it probably should be closer to like minus 150 or something like that. Like, he probably should be the favorite. That's fair. The grappling, and that's the thing. Like, he needs to be grappling with this guy, and he's only attempted 1 takedown across these 3 UFC, quote unquote, 3 UFC fights. Like, it's not great, So I'm not something that I'm necessarily looking to bank on. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I'm largely in line with what you guys are thinking. Like, I did put Bahalio in a parlay, but I think he was at like minus 170 at the time. But yeah, now up at the like minus 230, minus 250 range. That's not something that I like. If I was going to bet something here at this point, I do like that Bahalio by sub. I do think Bahalio's he's a pretty smart guy, and I think he's a pretty smart fighter. And I like to, I hope I'm not giving him too much credit here. I like to think that he's going to have a pretty clear understanding of like, there's really only one way he's going to lose this fight, and that's by, just standing there and having a toe-to-toe kickboxing match with Armin Petrosyan. And if he doesn't allow that to happen, then I think there's every reason in the world that he should win. So yeah, like you guys mentioned, he hasn't really looked to super push the grappling, but this is a spot in which he probably should do that. So I'm going to choose to believe that he will. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I think if he does come out with the right game plan in mind and looks to push the wrestling and the grappling, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't. I don't want to say cruise. I don't want to take anything away from Arman, but I think that Kaio should be able to win pretty comfortably here.
No, let me say a couple things. Because you're right, and I love it. But my biggest issue is do you know how many bets I've lost game planning for fighters?
Right.
Like, okay, if they do this, then they'll win. But they don't, and then I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not in their head. Like, I have to base it based on what I've seen from them. And again, it's always a limited sample size, but I haven't seen enough of it to get my money, especially at this price tag. And similarly, I'm gonna go two steps further. My first step forward is that in round 3, Gregory Rodriguez has him in like a body triangle in like the worst position you want to be in the ground with Gregory Rodriguez. And he's able to like scramble and get out of that shit. So he didn't get submitted versus Gregory Rodriguez. I don't know that Kaio's submitting him, especially with all that fucking damage that RoboCop was inflicting. Like, that was a nuts fight. And then the step further I want to go than that is like, okay, maybe neither of these guys are finishing each other. Similar, like, right? Kaio's last fight, maybe it could have been stopped, but it went the distance. Last fight, they didn't think it was going to go the distance. It went the distance. They don't think it's going the distance here. So I don't even have to pick a side on this sketchy fight. I can just get plus money on the fight to go the distance and fade the narrative that there's going to be a finish here. What do you think about that?
I don't mind that at all, actually.
Yeah.
That's a perfect grandma's couch cushion play to me, because it's like that's like an educated grandma's couch cushion play, and we don't usually do that with grandma.
So what was the line on that you said?
I see I got FanDuel has it at will the fight go the distance plus 128. DraftKings has it at plus 150.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I kind of vibe with that idea. Bahalio's never been finished, and yeah, I guess to your point, Petrosian, it could be difficult, but if you want to sprinkle on that sub still plus 330, have a little fun.
Listen, we nobody here hates a greasy sub prop.
Yeah. But it might not be greasy.
When we talk tracking and we talk units, this is. Yeah. I think that I like plus 150 at a value spot. And it gets me a plus money play, and it gets me some action on a fight that I feel is fairly sketchy in terms of the money line.
All right. Well, in all fairness, I think you're onto something there, and I think you guys might be seeing that on our Bet MMA before too long.
Oh.
Shout out right now, everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you give a like, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you guys are checking out at Erik Bets Fights on Twitter.
He's got a million shows,
Instagram,
guys, a million, tons of content.
Make sure you're following him on his YouTube channel.
And he does them with the best guys. He's with Brady, DFS by the numbers, Narco Cop.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good old Uncle Wheezy.
Oh my God.
Oh yes.
We just had Uncle Wheezy on the pod last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he's still in your mind, but not fully. You still
I don't.
Taste.
Get out of here. Relax, Gator.
All right, but anywho, yeah. So
I'm honestly playing that right now, at least on my own personal, because for like a little unit or something. Because
I was gonna say
because the line at plus 128 on FanDuel shows me that that's probably gonna drop.
All right, so let me get to teeing up something here while you go ahead and throw down a unit for us, maybe on Bet MMA.
Oh no, I did it for myself personally. I didn't.
I'm saying maybe Rap Meow. You want to go throw a unit down while I tee up this fight? Yeah. So make sure you follow our Bet MMA, guys. This is how it gets done. So now we got Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Said Nurmagomedov, and I'm smelling something here. Smelling a little doggy again. To me, Said Nurmagomedov minus 320, Douglas Silva de Andrade plus 265. The flavor of the week last time Nurmagomedov fought, including us, was Cody Stamann. That was going to be the big play. There was going to be some wrestling. You're going to see, all right, whatever, and then get smoked. I mean, you see him on the feet. It just doesn't look
great. Value play. We took a little stab in the dark. We didn't fucking throw 6 units.
Yeah, but everyone did. Everyone did. Is my ultimate point here. It was.
I don't know
it was
about that.
It was a very popular idea. And now we're seeing kind of a bounce back here because that line was kind of close. You had Stamen as like a little bit of a dog. Now, I mean, like, so the Andrade as someone that, has fought extremely high level competition. His losses in the UFC, they come to Lerone Murphy, Piotr Yan, Rob Font, and Zubaira Tukhugov. Does Said Nurmagomedov fit into that same category? He very well could. Well, for one, he does already have a loss in the UFC, so that's not the typical Nurmagomedov fashion. Let's just be honest here. Number two, he's got 2 career losses, and number three, it's not like he has a huge like size or athleticism advantage here in this fight, like a normal Nurmagomedov matchup that we see. And ultimately, you're getting the typical Nurmagomedov line here. You got minus 320 at this point. I mean, this thing's really starting to run away. Some of the Andrade is going to be someone that's going to fight to the, he's going to attack the legs. So that's something that we saw Barcelos actually have some success with. Shout out Guru giving me some scouting note tapes there. But yeah, and then I said, well, hey, listen, the Andrade goes to the legs about 2 times the amount that that Barcelos does. He's actually very well varied. He throws to the body as well at the same exact rate. So between throwing to the head at 50% and all that, so he's mixing up his striking. Ultimately, is the point. It's not that he's going to go for the most takedowns himself, but if the opportunity presents himself, someone's hurt, he's very capable of, as we saw against Morozov. Okay, well, I can't knock him out on the feet, but I can finish this with a choke. So for the first time, in his UFC career, he gets a submission out in his last win against Morozov. So now here we are, Andrade once again at plus 265 here. I can see where Nurmagomedov should have him outpaced if this is just, like volume kickboxing, the speed, everything like that. You see it in the Murphy fight, but Murphy also had like an extra 3 inches of reach than Nurmagomedov is going to have here. So I just think that there is a solid chance that we see Nurmagomedov get scared off by the power. I'm not willing to play the minus 320. It's not that Andrade is going to be like a dog of the week or anything like that, but that's it's looking like Sprinkle City for me, at least.
Sprinkle City. I've never been there. Is it nice there?
Yeah, it's not. They got the rainbow ones,
Nah, I know you mean. We're not going there with the rainbow crowd. But listen, listen. I'm going to tell you a couple things. We like the dogs to cap off the card, right? Those top 2 dogs, maybe a little bit more possibility. There's no way 3 dogs in a row are finishing the card. It's happened before. I'm telling you right now, I don't think it's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you might have been picking Petrosian, but I wasn't.
and I'm going to tell you right now that of the 3, I think this is the least likely dog to win, and obviously the line certainly agrees with that as well. Saeed to me is just kind of better everywhere. He's 7 inches. He's 7 years younger. He's an inch taller. He's got an inch and a half reach advantage, right? He's gonna strike more. He's gonna be quicker. We see Douglas Silva and Andrade take a ton of damage throughout his fights. That Morozov fight is crazy. He literally knocked Perillo into another planet. That was really cool. And listen, yeah, you look at his losses, his worst losses, terrible losses to Rob Font. But I mean, Peter Yan and Lerone Murphy and Tukhugov, like you really can't knock that too much, man. Like the dude's a stud. The thing is with Nurmagomedov is he's kind of a stud as well, right? And I'm not sure where Silva Andrade is going to be able to capitalize. I just think even though it's a smaller cage, right? Douglas Silva Andrade, I don't expect him to like hold him against the cage and control him. So if you're gonna play a kickboxing, dirty boxing type of affair with Saeed, I think he's gonna pick you apart because he's gonna be too unorthodox for you to necessarily like get your bearings on. And again, when you're younger and you're gonna be quicker and all that stuff, I think that makes it even more difficult, right? But to your point, when you're a minus 300 favorite, I want you and Cody Safdie is someone that says this shit all the time. Is like, I want you to fucking come out and kill somebody. Like when you're minus 300 favorite, we're expecting you to roll through somebody. To your point, He's not going to roll through Douglas Silva de Andrade. Nobody's rolled through Douglas Silva de Andrade. We didn't expect him to roll through Cody Stamann, but Cody Stamann put himself in a bad position with his relentless pressure and, went for a takedown without protecting his neck at all, and it put his neck in a terrible spot. And Saeed's always going to capitalize on that. That's a ground ball. So to him, he practices that all the time. So to your point, no, I don't think Douglas Silva de Andrade is going to be an easy out here. I don't think Douglas Silva de Andrade wins. I was saying it to you earlier. I think maybe even he can win like the third round after Saeed's up 2 and maybe kind of gets tired. But that's kind of where I'm going. If you can kind of catch my vibe here, why not play similarly this fight to go the distance at plus 140 on DraftKings? Why is it plus money? Like, he went to the decision with Hani Barcelos, another tough guy that was tough to finish. And when he finished who? Mark Striegel. He broke that dude's face because he was relentlessly going for a takedown. And he caught Cody Stamann. Okay, that doesn't mean that you're an incredibly elite, amazing finisher. Okay, he beat Hikaru Ramos with a body kick. That's, again, like, I don't want to take too much away from the guy while I go through all these awesome guys he's finished. But Ramos at the time, it's 3 years ago. Ramos is younger, a body kick, liver. It's like it's not this crazy amount of damage that Silva de Andrade is going to take. You're going to have to take to put him out. And of course, whoever the fuck Justin Scoggins is, he goes to decision. But okay, it's been way too long. Erik, please talk to me, buddy.
It's funny that you said whoever the fuck Justin Scoggins is. I'll tell you guys a funny thing about me. There was a time quite a few years ago. You know how, I don't know if you guys have like certain fighters that in your head are the same person, and you have to like look up a picture of them sometimes and be like, oh, that guy. Like Jared Gordon and Jared Gooden is a good example. Sometimes I can't remember which one is which. I used to confuse Justin Scoggins and Justin Gaethje years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, I do know the difference now, but
yes. Content creation will do that for you.
Yeah, I'm largely agreeing with a lot of what you guys are saying. I did actually bet Douglas Silva de Andrade at almost a 2-1 dog in his last fight against Sergey Morozov. So I was able to cash on Silva de Andrade there. I don't see him coming through this time for a lot of the same reasons that you guys said. I think Saeed is probably largely going to be able to just kind of dance circles around him. Douglas Silva de Andrade is kind of, he's very strong. He's very athletic, but he's also like pretty plodding and pretty flat-footed. And when I picture this fight, I almost picture Douglas Silva de Andrade as like a submarine or something, and he's like trying to get his crosshairs on long enough to actually like shoot the missile, and he's just not going to be able to
loading up. He's
not going to be able to lock it on long enough to get it. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And this is yet another fight, and we see this week after week after week. It's happening every card now where Saeed Nurmagomedov was probably bettable or parlayable a week ago or 2 weeks ago or whatever, and he's just not anymore. So this is something that I used to try not to do, but lately with the way the odds have been, I look ahead at fights sometimes and I try to pick like which guy is going to blow up, and I'll just put a bet on him. Like I haven't done any tape or anything. I'll be like, I'm going to put a bet on this guy because I'm going to have the option to arb out of this later because the lines are going to move. Right. So I did. I think I actually bet Saeed straight up and I put him in a parlay, but with where the lines are at now, I think the bet that I like the most in this fight, and it kind of lines up with what you guys are saying, is Saeed Nurmagomedov by decision, which I saw at like plus 225 last time I looked. Because I don't see him being able to finish Douglas Silva de Andrade. We just saw his last time out that the guy can take an absolute horrible beating and still come back to win. And one thing I want to add before we move on, because I completely forgot to mention this to you guys at the top of the show, before we went live, I mentioned that like, I was like, I'm not as great as like a conversationalist of these guys. So what I did, I remember telling Guru when he was on my show, if you remember this, Guru, I'm a trivia guy. That's actually what I do for a living, is I write trivia questions. I work for a trivia company. And I didn't want to feel like I was showing up to your house without a bottle of wine in my hand. Okay, so what I did was I actually wrote a trivia question for every single one of these fights. And we've already done 2 fights and I totally forgot to ask them.
No, let's hear them. Let's do it. Wow. Yeah, we love it. I love, right. But I don't know. I told you this, and TB knows this about me personally because we're close. I love trivia. I would go to my local trivia nights every Tuesday religiously. Would not miss. So I literally love trivia. So we're stopping the show and we're gonna do some trivia.
Well, I'll jump back up to the top and I'll do the.
Yes.
We'll do the three. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. I actually have several.
I hope I'm
gonna
get it wrong on air now too. Fuck.
And if we
Some
don't
of
get it, yeah, we'll give the listeners a chance too if they want to hop in.
Some of these you'll get. Some of them might be tough. All right, we'll do this one. I wrote 3 questions for this one, but I'm gonna pick this one. All right, so RDA has the second most octagon time in history in UFC history with 7 minutes and 33 seconds inside the octagon. With 7 minutes and 55 seconds, who is the only fighter to rank above him?
Is it Edgar?
It is. I had a feeling you did that one.
Okay, there you go, Guru.
Very nice.
Come on. Nice. Come on, guys.
Let's see. Okay, so for Bahalio Petrosian, this is an easy one to cheat.
Now I'm curious about your other 2 for that one now. But
well, I can ask. I mean, I can ask you those 2 if you want.
All right, quick.
All right. Rafael Fiziev's life plan was to work in what field, but his plans changed when, after working for just 1 month, he turned pro as a fighter.
Oh my God! See, this is why I shouldn't have went back to this. I've got no fucking clue. Does anybody have any idea out there? Anybody? Bueller? I don't think so.
It's a toughie.
He was a cop.
Well, oh, I think I actually knew that. Why did I did actually know that? I think.
Wow. Okay.
Holy shit! Yeah. That's jogging. That's jogging some memory of mine.
That's the first time Guru's been jogging in a while.
Very true. This is me or my thoughts. Honestly, it's like a very slow train up there.
The stripper.
That's funny.
All right, I'll throw this one at you quick too.
Yeah.
Rafael dos Anjos has the all-time UFC record for most wins by unanimous decision. How many does he have?
Oh shit! All right, so I'm not gonna look at his Tapology. Oh, I'm not even on his Tapology.
Most
page.
wins by unanimous decision.
13.
Oh, I was gonna say 12. That's so funny.
11. You guys are both super close.
So close, so close.
Very nice, very nice.
All right,
awesome,
all right.
very cool. I really love that. That's that's better than a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
You want me to throw the Caillou question at you?
Yeah.
What
do we got?
All right, this is one where you can easily cheat. So lock eyes with me. Don't look at your computer screen. What words are tattooed on the front of Caio Bahalio's neck? Right there?
Oh wait, no. Oh fuck! What is it? Oh fuck me! I know it. It's something. It's like nerd or life or fight or death. Or, shit. What? No. Oh my God! It's.
I can't get it.
No, I know it. I'm gonna be so mad. I literally know it. I'm so mad. Okay, you have to tell me. I'm so annoyed.
There, Nick Alexander just got it in the chat. It's Free Spirit.
Yeah,
there it is.
Oh,
all right, nice, good job.
Spirit. Right. Yeah, it's something crazy. Yeah, he's a nut job.
So that brings us along to our Andrade Nurmagomedov question.
Yes, it does.
I'll throw this. I only got one for this one.
Cool.
How many times did Douglas Silva de Andrade fight professionally before experiencing his first loss?
Oh, see, you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to look. But what I do know from just scrolling through Tapology a moment ago is it was a lot of fucking green.
I'm going to say 23.
I was going to say 17.
Dude, it was 23.
Get the fuck out of
here. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I just knew it had to be more than 20. So we went with Michael Jordan. That's
very nice.
Sick. All right. So that
was great.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad that we spent a little extra time getting our trivia in because some of these fights coming up here, especially like kicking us off on this next one. Let me just be flat honest with you guys. You're getting the 1 minute TB breakdown here. I know Guru will have some extra to say, but yeah, it basically comes down to we're trusting Jared Vanderaa to use his wrestling here, right? Is that what everyone's thinking? Because we have minus 195, Jared Vanderaa, and Chase Sherman's plus 165. Or are we just like Chase Sherman's off the juice at this point? Because like you look at the striking numbers, like Chase Sherman should absolutely mutilate him if this thing stays on the feet. Like as far as like a power perspective, experience perspective, UFC experience, he's got like double the total fights overall essentially. Like, you know, something's not adding up here for me as far as this line goes. And it's like someone must know something about this quote unquote like black belt level of Jared Vanderaa that they're not telling me. I'm not buying it. Chase Sherman plus 165. I'm going a little dog crazy, I guess. But like, listen, you can't convince me to take Jared Vanderaa at minus 195 because you can't convince me he's going to wrestle or win on the feet. So there you go. The 1 minute TV breakdown. Guru, tell us.
Bro, like, because I don't need to convince anybody to do anything. How about you just do something crazy, like bet this fight to be won by split or majority decision at plus 800?
Fuck yes. There it is. The Chronic Combat Special, the Triple C Special.
Because
The
like
split
again,
decision.
I don't know if I'm like too crazy or anything. Because if they're both so dumb in terms of both of them have poor fight IQ. Both of them are fairly sloppy fighters. Both of them don't really, grapple enough for, any sort of lacking of their striking defense as well. Like it's really, it's just heavyweight MMA at its finest on some level.
Mhm.
They've both lost by finish to Alexander Romanov. There's no shame in that. They both lost by finish to ridiculous opponents in Olenek and Collier. Well, I'm gonna go there and say that there's no shame in that. And then they both lost decisions to Andrei Arlovsky. I'm going to say that there's no shame in that. So you look at their wins, right? Bandera has a loss to Sergey Spivak. Seriously, I'm going to still again say no shame in that. Like, he's facing these tough wrestlers that are just beating the piss out of him. Like, okay, he's not that good of a fighter. What do you want him to do? Like, that's not fair. He beat Justin Tafa and Henry Hunsucker. That's cool. And then you look at Chase Sherman's one win since returning back to the UFC, and it was Ike Villanueva, my guy, Ike the Spike. And whatever, like everybody's taking Ike. Like, I think us two or three against Ike, we got a pretty good shot. So like
Guru won't even take me in jiu-jitsu on Saturdays at the fights. So don't let him fool you about taking on anybody.
I guess to my whole stupid point is that, like, they're going the decision against other fighters. And again, all of a sudden, this fight, for some reason, they're both supposed to be killers. This fight to go the distance is plus 165. I don't know if the bookmakers are drunk from UFC Austin. I don't know if I'm drunk from trying to fade the narrative from UFC Austin with all these finishes. But bro, like, why can't this just be too super duper sloppy and nobody finish anybody?
It could be. It could be. Yo, what's going on, Mushroom? How you doing, my brother?
What's
Thanks
up,
for
guys?
hopping
Thanks for
in.
hopping in. What's up, Mushroom?
Appreciate that.
So Eric, do you have like a more also with your trivia? I'm more excited for the trivia question than the breakdown of this fight. Like, but not your breakdown, just breaking down this fight in general. So like, do you have something a little bit more solid, more crisp, or are you kind of with us in terms of like this is nuts?
I actually think that both of these guys are really underrated and are a lot more skilled than people are giving them credit for. And are you guys buying this at all? Or
I totally was.
No,
Dude,
yeah. Well, I practiced it in my head a little bit to make sure it was going to be convincing.
Damn, you got it. I was like, all right, respect the guys.
I was like,
keep a cool face.
I was like, damn, and I was just disrespectful. I was like, oh, we could take him just 3. Like, damn, he actually likes it.
I wanted to try to do it a little bit longer, but I lost my courage there. But
that was excellent. Oh my god, you had me.
Yeah. So
I don't have much to add. Like this is. I will say this. I'm gonna ape the catchphrase from the one and only Lou Betya. This is a yam bag fight if ever there was one, right?
let's go.
I mean, this is a spot. If you're gonna bet this fight, you gotta bet the point deduction or the draw or just something stupid, because that's what this fight deserves. This is a stupid fight. But one thing, I mean, I haven't bet anything on it and I'm not going to. I don't think you can't. Should Jared Vanderaa win? I guess so. But yeah, you can't touch him at like almost 2-1 here. It seems like a dog or pass situation to me. And if I was going to bet it, I'd be looking toward like Chase Sherman by KO in round 1 at plus 550, weird stuff like that. This is one of those spots where if you want to have some fun with a prop, do that. But otherwise, I don't think there's much you can do. But one thing that I want to talk about before and then I'll do the trivia question too. But one thing I want to mention about this, because I think it's worth mentioning. And I think it's, as far as I know, as the trivia guy, it's unprecedented in UFC history, is that Chase Sherman is 3-9 in the UFC. And he just signed a new 4-fight deal before the Romanov fight.
Totally
if they keep him around and to finish out that contract, we could potentially see Chase Sherman at 3-12 in the UFC, which not only has never happened before, but probably never ever will happen again. So that's just worth mentioning. I thought, like, they're never going to keep somebody around to go 3-12.
Wow, yeah.
They might do it now, but yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll probably get a win before they keep him around at 3-12. To be quite honest,
at some point,
maybe
3-10, 3-11, they're gonna cut him.
At some point, you face Ike Villanueva, or you face, I know he's gone.
You face somebody like that. You
face,
face
exactly,
Alain Badeau, and you're gonna get your win.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can bet the draw. I don't even know where you can bet the draw. Actually, I bet the point deduction on DraftKings is plus 2,000.
Yeah, listen.
So I just literally put $1.25 on that.
Yeah, Grandma's couch is getting a little squeaky at this point.
That's literally
all the loving in there that we can.
I literally just put $1.25 on that. So I'll take $30 or some shit if that wins, and then like I said, split a majority decision. Which again, if you're kind of thinking that there's a point deduction, right? Majority decision, that kind of thing. They almost kind of go hand in hand on some level. Plus 800, I kind of like that as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't really see a need to. I have no idea who's gonna win. Honestly, it's stupid. It's a stupid fight.
For sure. So I mean, that brings us on to our next one, which
you guys want to hear a trivia question quick?
Oh yes, please. Yes, I forgot we didn't even do that.
Yep. No, I forgot too. Okay, so oddly enough, Chase Sherman is not the first fighter in UFC history to be nicknamed the Vanilla Gorilla. And neither is Jason Witt. See, it's such a weird nickname that you wouldn't think would happen over and over. There are currently 2 Vanilla Gorillas in the UFC. However, the original Vanilla Gorilla made his UFC debut in 2005, losing to Nate Quarry. Can you name him?
Ooh, anyone in the chat pop in, because I'm not getting it this far.
Was it like Nate Marquardt or something? Can I get a hint? I have no fucking clue.
I'll give you a hint. He is no longer alive. I don't know if that's a helpful hint.
Ooh,
he was found dead in his apartment in, I think, 2019. I don't even know the circumstances. I'm not sure. He was not in the UFC for very long, maybe just 1 or 2 fights, and then he did fight in smaller promotions for quite a while after that.
Oh, yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. I legitimately don't know his name, but I know I've read the story.
No, I know the title contender guy, or I actually think he won.
No.
I know the guy that was the middleweight champion, and then was it Evan Turner? I know was it Evan Turner, the guy that went missing too?
Evan Tanner is who you're.
Evan Tanner, that's what I'm thinking of. But he's not the Vanilla Gorilla.
No, I'll give you another hint.
Yeah,
he was a contestant on the first season of Tough.
Oh fuck me, I didn't. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, nah. I am at a loss.
Yeah, who do you got? Who is
Loden Sincade.
No, I would never.
Yeah, I would never have gotten the name. No, never.
Loden or not Logan? Loden.
Loden, yeah.
Yeah.
He was the guy who he was strutting around the Tough House wearing a thong and stuff, and he was kind of a weird dude, like to express himself a little bit. He was cool.
I see. Well, I mean, talk about greasy and interesting. I mean, we got a Michael Johnson fight to break down. So here we are. I mean, Michael Johnson, came out, gave us, what he was supposed to do. Like, for once, against Alan Patrick, he knocked him out. You were set up on a golden.
Get wobbled first.
Yeah, well, that's very true. But it's silver platter here. There you go, buddy. You did great. All right, now you got Jamie Malarkey, someone
they didn't give him his bonus, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I mean, well, you got to earn it. You don't get it on your first win back. You're on like an 18,000 losing streak. 3rd round submissions.
Brutal.
But
I just felt bad because, like, again, he's been around the promotion for so long, and he all fight week was telling about how he was such in a dark place and has no money, and then he gets a decent finish and an exciting fight. And they're like, nah.
Damn, see, I didn't know that, but that explains why we're seeing him. He was kind of not in action so often, and all of a sudden, here we are. Couple fights back to back. You got Michael Johnson. Oh Jesus, did I do it again?
Michael, what'd you do?
I did it again. It was supposed to be Cynthia Calvillo and Nina Nunes, but I scrolled too far. I was following DraftKings. That was my fault this time. Damn. So yeah, we already dove in. So we're gonna keep on going. This is just classic. Obviously classic, because I'm clicking through DraftKings on their thing to like go to the next bets that I'm gonna look at instead of my own fucking profiles I put together and make sure. So anyways, as we do that, Michael Johnson here. It's just I don't trust the guy. Also, he gets controlled at 21%, and Jamie Malarkey has a control rate of 29%. The people that Malarkey has not been able to hold down on a consistent rate when he's tried to were 1, Brad Riddell, and 2, Jalen Turner. And these are the types of guys he's been facing in his UFC tenure. So I really do think that Michael Johnson is a step down. End of story. So minus 230. This is the first favorite on the card that I'm diving balls deep on. If that
Jesus
tells you
Christ.
anything. No, I'm serious, bro. Because like honestly, to me, it's just one of those things. Like, yeah, I mean, they got it pegged, man. Like Michael Johnson got his like win last time out, and here you go, buddy. Like, here's someone that just had to face someone that should be like, not that he's too heavy, anything like that. But you look at the frame, like Jalen Turner could be a 170 easy and still be one of the top guys in the division. I mean, Brad Riddell just lived through it, but hey, Jamie Malarkey, he made it to the second round, and guess who finished the first round on top? Jamie Malarkey. So, yeah, I think he's going to be controlling Michael Johnson. He's got the size advantage. I don't see why not. Why not? You know, the striking defense. So
Right. Thank you. That's where I'm going to get into. And again, I'm like, I am not a Michael Johnson fan per se. So, yeah, just not personally a fan of the guy. Like I respect what he's done for the sport. Just not one of those guys that I personally enjoy capping fights for, whatever. But when you look at him, right, his one way to win this fight is going to be with his striking, and he's a very good striker, right? Even in his, even in his later age here at 35, he can still crack, and he just showed you that in his last fight. And you look at somebody like Jamie Malarkey, right, and his strikes landed per minute is 3.42, and his absorb per minute is 5. Okay, not great. But then you look at his pace at distance. His pace at distance is much higher at 10 strikes per minute, 10.73. Great. His opponent pace at distance is 13.03. Okay. So he's still getting outlanded for sure. Paced, outlanded, all of it by these strikes. And if you're going to get outstruck and outlanded by Michael Johnson, it's going to be a problem. So he needs the takedowns, right? So, yeah, he 3.38 takedowns per 15. That's a good amount, right? But I'm not. I don't like. He has to grind him out. That's it. If it stays on the feet, which you've seen Malarkey have a willingness to do, it's going to be a problem, right? He has 2 knockout wins in his last 3 fights. Like, he likes to strike, the Faraz Ziem fight. I'm not sure. Like, I don't remember that fight off my top of my head too much, but I'm not sure how much grappling he did in that loss. In the Brad Riddell fight, I know the grappling was kind of the only thing that really kept him in that fight. Of that, he was getting fucking pieced up.
The Fiziev fight was pure control. And
pure
it was
control.
A robbery, and they don't even show.
Right. Thank you for dropping my mind. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a robbery.
So here's the thing. Right. I mean, I think the narrative here is that Jamie Malarkey by knockout for whatever fucking reason is plus 120. It's Jamie Malarkey by land prey decision because he just got knocked out his last fight at plus 300. There you go. Fade the narrative. You did it. Plus 300 by decision, Jamie Malarkey. Erik, are you? How are you feeling here? A little saucy, or what's going on?
You guys. I bet on Michael Johnson.
Oh no, he did it.
I did it. I actually I split up one unit in a variety of ways. I put some of it on his money line. I put some of it on his KO prop at plus 325, and then I put a little on KO2 and KO3.
Ooh,
however,
okay.
And I literally typed this in my notes. I'm just going to read to you what I typed in my notes here. When I was doing tape, I got it in my head that Michael Johnson was going to win this fight, and I haven't been able to get it out. I don't even know that I can explain it in an analytical way why I'm feeling that, but I am. The best I can give as far as actually explaining it in an analytical way, what kind of got locked into my head was that, and I mean, obviously Jalen Turner is a much bigger, much longer guy with much longer reach, but what kind of locked into my head while I was watching the tape is that Jamie Malarkey, he kind of overextends on his shots. He does leave a lot of openings. And, Jalen Turner was able to counter him effectively, partially because he has such a just kind of loose, calm sort of style. He stays kind of loose, and he was just able to sort of find those spots when they were there. And when Michael Johnson is on, I think he's capable of doing those same things. I don't think he's capable of doing it as well as Jalen Turner and doesn't have the reach and that sort of thing. But I started thinking about like, okay, well, what is it, 3 or 4 months ago that Malarkey got knocked out, something like that. And I just kept running over and over again in my head. Like, man, maybe Michael Johnson's going to be able to find those same openings. And so, I'm not it's not something I'm confident in, or I'm going to put it out there like, guys, Michael Johnson's going to win this fight. What are you thinking? But I decided it was worth a shot at the numbers that are there. So I split up a unit on him in a variety of ways. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
I think that's an extremely reasonable way to play it.
And I think you're right too, because you look at like Michael Johnson kind of had the narrative of being chinny, right? But when you look at his knockout losses, they're to Josh Emmett, Justin Gaethje, and that's it. Those are the only two people that have knocked him out. So yeah, he got kind of.
It wasn't Justin Scoggins.
No, that's funny.
How sure are we that
I can pull up the picture? But yeah, you know what I mean. He gets submitted often. Darren Elkins submitted him. Khabib submitted him. Thiago Moises submitted him.
To your point,
Reza Madidis is submitted him. I'm sure you probably remember that fight, Eric, because you're a crazy person. He got heel hook.
Madadi.
Yeah, see, there you go. He got submitted by heel hook again by Paul Sass. I don't know who that is either.
Sass Angle.
Yes.
I love it.
Paul Sass still has the record for most submission attempts per minute in UFC history with anybody with more than 5 fights to this day. And it's something like, or per 15 minutes, it's something like 7 submission attempts per 15 minutes or something. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No,
I love it.
You're right, man. But like, listen, to your point, I mean, Malarkey submission is plus 550, decisions plus 300. The narrative is the plus 120 knockout. So if you do like Malarkey by submission or decision, because you know the ways that Michael Johnson's lost has been 9 submissions and 6 decisions, only 2 knockouts. So yeah, Guru, you're right. Chinny is a narrative.
Yeah, so submission, it's very interesting, which is cool. The submission decision double chance prop is the only one on DraftKings still plus money. KO decision minus 200, KO submission minus 105, submission decision plus 165.
And Jamie Malarkey in over 1.5 is plus 130.
I just don't know if you want to take out the option that he's going to knock out Michael Johnson.
Yeah, no. I agree. So you know what you said, plus 160 for submission or decision?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fuck that. Yeah, that's a play for me. Like straight, like wow, that's a play. If I'm not parlaying Malarkey, and I probably will parlay Malarkey.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just not super sold. Dude, he hasn't, to me, Malarkey really hasn't earned it. Knocking out Devontae Smith and Kama Worthy really, really, really doesn't prove much at all. And it's too close of a fight with Faraziam, even though he definitely won it, is, again, still not good enough. They cut Faraziam, so that shows you what they think of him. And that was surprising to me.
That's fair, and that's probably why he wouldn't get the submission and is more like if he gets the control, it's going to be a decision later. I could feel that.
Yeah, so again, another random fight where we're just betting the fight to go the distance, not having to pick a side in this weird sketchiness, is also still fucking plus money.
Yeah,
fight to go the distance is plus 175. Like, you take a stab on these 3-4 to go the distance props. You hit 2 of them, you make your money. You hit 3 of them, you're really in the green.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about being in the green. We got Nina Nunes is in the green in the striking, and Cynthia Calvillo, you take a look at the wrestling numbers, she's going to be in the green here. I mean, is this the striker versus grappler matchup, or Cynthia Calvillo, or are you now a boxer?
Bro, this fight is about as much fun for women's flyweights as the fucking Jared Van Der Sherman fight was much fun for the heavyweights. Like, this is just, there's just not much meat on these bones at all. Cynthia towards the end of her rope at 34. Nina still doing it for whatever reason at 36. Yeah, you saw Nina kind of come back and test the waters against Mackenzie Dern after her pregnancy. Listen, you do sometimes kind of question why and whether she's gonna do it. I appreciate her having goals and wanting to come out here. So I respect that. You wonder the same thing about
shredded,
right? You just wonder the same thing sometimes about Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, all these guys that make a ton of money and what their ambition is. At the end of the day, if you really are a fighter, this is what you love to do. So this is what she loves to do. This is how she's choosing to spend her time. I can respect that. Cynthia Calvillo, right? It's fairly obvious that she's not gonna be able to take it on the feet. Like, she's just not good enough there at all after getting absolutely manhandled by Andrea Lee and having to throw in the towel. That was fucking brutal. I had a ridiculous bet on that fight to start round 3, and I just remember it ending. And I'm like, oh, thank God she made it. I don't know how. And then she didn't come out, and I'm like, you fucker. So that's just like super classic.
Oh, good news. Cynthia Calvillo is training with Emily Whitmire and Jillian Robertson. That's definitely going to help her.
Actually, wait a minute. Didn't I text you this? This fight got moved, didn't it?
Yes. So what happened was I rearranged my notes, but DraftKings didn't rearrange their thing. So this fight should have been above Michael Johnson and Jamie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I already was wrong. We already talked about it.
I almost thought for a second. I almost thought for a second. I almost thought for a second it got moved to a different card, but yeah, that's what it was. It got moved in a different spot.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
Yeah. So to me, I like Nina here at plus money. I feel like a broken record on this card. Jesus Christ. I like Nina here at plus money because I think she's going to look better than she did in her last showing against Dern. It's pretty much as simple as that. Like, I like her to rebound here because if she doesn't rebound, I expect her to hang up the gloves.
Yeah. And I think Calvillo, you kind of question her overall motivation, hopping gym to gym at this point, kind of not sticking with any overall game plan or, team. I just don't think she's fully in the game this point mentally. And Nunes looks more shredded than I've ever seen in like a long time. Like, she doesn't look like she had a baby anytime recently based off of some of her training pictures. And she's got really good takedown defense and solid enough positional awareness. Like, listen, okay, Mackenzie Dern, she gets in mount, she's going to sub you first fight back. Mackenzie Dern lost her first fight back from pregnancy. So it's kind of like some parallels there. And overall, it's like, okay, so Nunes is back, but like, why the fuck is Calvillo minus 150? Just like, can anyone explain that to me? Because when has she like committed to a wrestling game plan with the proper footwork to close the distance and do anything in that regard? So now she fights someone her own size, but Nunes is going to have her outclassed in the speed department. And I just think that she should be able to stay safe overall. And Calvillo, maybe you can get some control running here, but there's no way. Even if Calvillo was the underdog here, I just think the wrong fighter is favored. And plus 130 Nunes, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be betting this type of fight, but this is like exactly the type of women's MMA line we've been looking at the past few weeks, that minus 150 to like minus 280 range. Man, you got to be all over the underdog in this spot. Like, something's just going on here. And like, you see, if you're going to see like Nunes start getting a lot more money and the line closes up, I will be a little sketched out. But like, you get enough people on that Calvillo side staying there, you keep this line like in that sketchy short favorite mode. Like, it's bringing back all those feels. But even without that, I just think Nunes is the better fighter.
This might be my favorite dog spot on the card.
I just think already, it feels better to put it on the main event for me. But I'm telling you, I really like Nunes.
I like RDA too. I do like RDA too.
Eric,
what
are you thinking?
Come on, Eric. What are you thinking? I need more trivia.
I think you're exactly right, TB, in that well, number one, the best move on this fight is to pass. The second best move on this fight is to bet the dog. And I don't know if you guys saw that. I made a Twitter post about this. I was laying in bed one night recently and I couldn't sleep. And the reason I couldn't sleep is because I kept thinking about, well, what would happen if you literally just blindly bet the underdog in every women's UFC fight? What would happen? And I was like,
I did see this.
So I have to know, like, if you had done that for every women's UFC fight in 2022, where would you be? And I got out of bed in the middle of the night and pulled up a spreadsheet and figured it out. So if you had blindly bet $100 on every underdog in a women's fight so far, you'd be up almost $1,000 in 2022.
Wow.
And yeah, these spots, especially these close ones like this. Yeah. I think it was 48 or 49 total women's fights, and the dog had won 21 times.
Wow.
And I did specifically look at the range that between, like 150, the minus 150 plus 150 type of range. And I can't remember the percentage, but a lot of them were in that range. So yeah, in this range, if you just blindly bet the underdog, it's a long-term winning strategy. And as far as this this particular fight that's in front of us, my official stance on it is undecided. It's, I've kind of thought back and forth. It's one of those that there's just a lot of question marks, I think, and so you end up having to try to take things into account in your capping that you just can't really account for in a tangible way. As far as like where is Nina Nunes as far as really wanting to, does she have title aspirations at this point? She's 36 years old. She's a mother, is she coming in here because she wants to fight one more time? Is she going to lay her gloves down? Where's she at? I don't know. And then of course there's, people who are, I think, really reading into Cynthia Calvillo having that kind of ugly performance last time out against Andrea Lee. But I really think that was largely just, I don't think she would have looked that bad against anyone else. I think that was largely just Andrea Lee had the right ingredients to make her look that bad that night. So yeah, I don't have a confident pick either way here, and it's a fight that I'm definitely staying away from. But if I was going to bet it, yeah, you just got to take that plus money. Okay. Oh, and trivia question as well. While we're at it, so Nina's
the next fight.
Yeah, Nina's nickname is the Strina. What does that mean?
What the fuck does that mean? The Strina? I have no clue. That's terrible.
Yeah, this is one of those that like I don't expect anybody to actually get it. It more just gives.
No, not a terrible question. It's a terrible nickname.
But yeah, it's very stupid.
Hang on, is it the? Does that really say that on her? It does say that the Strina. It must just be a nickname because Nina Strina, or Christina, it's like some sort of child nickname or something. What the fuck is it?
Her grandparents, I believe, are from Macedonia, now North Macedonia. And before she became a mother, she's been an aunt for a long time, and she really, really embraced that role. She's like really close with her nieces or nephews or whichever she has. And Strina is actually Macedonian for aunt.
There it is.
Oh, very interesting.
Now I feel like an uncultured swine for saying it was a dumb word. And
it's kind of it's weird to have as your fight nickname though, right? Like I'm an aunt. I'm going to make that part of my, that's just.
I'm the aunt. You better fear me. I'll give you mustache kisses. Bad sweaters bad sweaters as Christmas gifts.
Well, I guess if we're talking about mustaches, we might as well move on to Ayman Zahabi here.
Does he have a mustache?
I think so, right? He's got.
He has a beard. He looks like Ariel Helwani.
Yeah, exactly. So, so as we struggle to see how we actually spelled the name in our database here, we're gonna start it because Ayman Zahabi versus Ricky Turcios. I mean, this fight.
AIE.
There we go. Yeah, if I just think like Ricky Turcios is a -190 and Zahabi is a +160. It's all well and good. I think Turcios is going to be way busier, going to be doing a lot more stuff here. He's just a wild man. And I want to trust his chin. I want to continue to trust his chin here. I really I really want to think like, he seems to have like turned some corners, training out of, Team Alpha Male, all this stuff. He's got the Taekwondo black belt, he's got the brown belt in jiu-jitsu. So it seems like he should be safe, like no matter where the fight's taking place, but the dude just loves getting fucking hit in the face. There's something up with our stat numbers here. So I'll be taking a look at that while Guru breaks it down. But like Turcios -190, I'll probably have him in like a very small unit parlay. It just seems like he should win this fight. But it's like if you want to do Zahabi, it's like you want to take him by finish only. But like I don't think he's beyond getting finished by Turcios. So I just don't think I want any Zahabi equity. He does seem to be like a smart fighter, but I don't think he necessarily like goes out and executes like a game plan that's going to finish fights on a consistent basis. It's just like, is his opponent going to be UFC level and like ready to fight? And like Draco Rodriguez was not filling either of those categories in his debut. Agreed. Missed weight and just like also lost in his next fight, just didn't look great. So like Zahabi, nice, like you're 2-2 in the UFC, great. You did it. Your last win before that was back in 2017. I don't get the vibe here that like Zahabi is anyone that you should be trusting with any sort of bet here, but like keep it light on Turcios. Really don't go crazy.
It's actually kind of funny that you say that. I feel like Turcios is one of the favorite money line spots I actually feel like the most comfortable about this week. He really should get it done. He's better everywhere. the one place that maybe he's would be struggle, or like you're saying would be an issue, would be, if he gets Flash knocked out, right? He was knocked out by Mana Martinez and Fury FC in 2018. That'd be the one concern. Eamon Zahabi obviously just had like that crazy Flash KO against Draco, but Draco missed weight and Draco didn't look good. It was just, yeah, I think other than a Flash knockout, he should be safe. So generally, that's like a pretty good fucking feeling. And at minus 190, I don't even think that that's that bad. Do I want to lay 4 to win 2? Essentially, I'm not sure. Straight up like that is how I want to do it. So, maybe I'll parlay him out to something that I feel a little bit more confident about.
Okay.
I also think that let me double check, and then we gotta defer to our guy. Yeah, you know what? Tercios has a ton of decisions. Why not play Tercios in over 1.5? I think if he gets a submission or finish or something, it's later. I don't know that he's gonna, get a fucking first round submission against Zahabi. I'd like to see how Zahabi looks before I play anything like that. But if I look at the props, Tercios in over 1.5 is terribly minus 150. That's disgusting. Okay. What do you think, Eric?
I think Ricky Tercios has, obviously he doesn't have like the tightest, most buttoned up game, generally just the way he approaches things.
Very unorthodox.
Right. But so in that regard, he doesn't, but in a lot of other regards, he has a lot of the things that we want to bet on as gamblers, right? I mean, yes. He's a guy that he will not allow himself to be put into a difficult position. If he is put in a difficult position, he's getting the hell out of it. He's going to try. The guy comes to fight every second of the fight. He is trying to hurt you. He is trying to finish you. He is trying to get to good positions and stay out of bad positions. And he does that for the entire 15 minutes. If he was also, a little bit tighter and a little bit more trustworthy, technically, then it would be even more so. But he just, he's, like you said, the Flash KO is something that's potentially live here. I mean, Ricky Tercios does, if there's one thing that he loves as much as he loves fighting, it's getting punched in the face and not doing anything to stop it. And so there is definitely a concern there. But yeah, he's the kind of guy that I don't love the minus 190 so
he's
much.
He's already up to minus 210 on FanDuel.
Okay, yeah. And some of these other lines have gotten away from us even more than that. I did put Tercios in a parlay. I think he was around minus 180. I didn't even love that line, but sometimes we just do those things anyway. But yeah, besides getting caught and Flash KO'd here, Ricky Tercios should just bust out the Tasmanian devil in himself and just go wild and get it done, I think.
I feel that. I like that.
And then probably talk about the sun and the moon and the stars and stardust and stuff or on the microphone after.
Yes, most likely.
Okay, so I can, instead of the over 1.5 at minus 150, I can add a half a round. You can get Tercios round 3 or decision at plus 100. And that line is probably going to be better on FanDuel once they drop it.
That's fair. What I did a little 3-legger here with the guys that I like the most as our favorites so far. For me, Kyle Bahalio, Jamie Malarkey, and Ricky Tercios, plus 216 together for 1 unit. I mean, nothing crazy, gross. But like, I those were the favorites that I like the most on this card. So, it's not this isn't a quote unquote best bet parlay of 5 units, but like a little unit so that I don't have to spread, to win 1 unit on each. Like that's what I'm looking at for my.
I think I'd want to parlay. I'd call me crazy, but I think I want to parlay this favorite with the favorite of our next fight.
All right, so I mean, I think that's our cue to start loading up our next fight here. We got.
I can drop a trivia question on you while you get it ready.
Yes,
do it.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna go with the true or false here. We got to get one of those in there, right? So, all right, true or false? Ricky Tercios is an accomplished singer and dancer who has performed extensively in musical theater, and he hopes to parlay his UFC career into a spot on Dancing with the Stars.
That's like
this has got to be true.
Yeah, it has to. Too specific not to be true.
I made that up.
Nice.
It's not
was
true.
good.
However,
but he was singing and dancing on the show of Tough. That's why I remember that. Oh, that's funny.
He does have an acting background, and he does want to be an actor. But I don't know that he specifically has a singing and dancing background. I made that part up, but he does want to be an actor. Apparently,
didn't he sing on the show?
Mushroom was all over it.
I don't remember.
That was funny as fuck. I'm an idiot.
All right, so now the train is pulled up. We made it through trivia time, and we have arrived at Crazy Town because here is Guru with one of his best ideas. We're parlaying Ricky Turcios and Antonina Shevchenko at minus 180. And you know what I'm going to say, actually? Crazy Town might be population too, because I like Antonina Shevchenko at minus 180. It's so stupid, but we're talking about against Courtney Casey, so why not, right? Guru, I mean, take us away, man. This is your play.
Yeah, so we were just talking about with the last women's fight that these dog women fighters, they've been winning, and I get it. And then we've seen a lot of split decisions, and I get it. Let me break this down quickly, at least how I'm thinking about it. I don't see this as a place where a split decision is going to be in play per se, because they're both strikers. They're not grapplers. There should not be any reason to not understand or be confused about or even debate what we're watching. It should be fairly obvious from the striking who's the better striker and who's winning. So now you can see where I'm going with this. I'm leaning with the 11-time Muay Thai champion, Antonina Shevchenko, who actually throws combinations, multiple combinations, as opposed to Courtney Casey, who likes to throw one strike at a time. So, yeah, that's it. Again, does Antonina deserve to be at this number? Probably not. She gets triangle armbarred by Andrea Lee, not ideal. She gets ground and pounded by Casey O'Neill. Casey O'Neill's a stud. She had Casey O'Neill in a very interesting position, though, before. She almost had her in like a crucifix, and she was like throwing down her own strikes. It's a very interesting fight in that regard. Losing to Caitlin Chikagian. What's up, Prince of Mischief? Good to see you, buddy. Losing to Caitlin Chikagian, no big deal on that. Split decision versus Modafferi, whatever. That's like that grappling bullshit I was talking about earlier. So yeah, we both know. With both fighters, it is very clear the path to victory. You grapple either one of them, they fall over like a house of cards. They have no takedown defense. It's really poor. But neither of these girls really go for takedowns. So, yeah, they both have gone. So, Courtney Casey has attempted 10 takedowns across 14 UFC fights, and Antonina's attempted 6 takedowns across 7 UFC fights. So I guess technically Antonina might still even be the one more apt to go for takedown, but that's...
Well, in all fairness, she's got the 25% control rate, and Courtney Casey's only got 4%.
4%.
So if anyone was going to wrestle in this fight, it's
but Antonina has a 40% opponent control rate, and Courtney Casey only has a 30% control rate. So yeah, not great. These girls have clear deficiencies. I just like Antonina to win a striking battle. Antonina by decision at plus like 120 or something isn't bad either.
I mean, 10-9 as your career record, 6-8 in the UFC. I mean, Jesus Christ, Courtney Casey. Eric, tell me you got the hammer pulled out for Courtney Casey.
All right, here's what I have to say about this fight. We mentioned earlier that Lou Betya has the yam bag bet that he does for every card, right? And Uncle Wheezy has his ass shaving of the week, and Cody Safdie has the PRP. Like a lot of these guys, they have like their thing for each card, you know? Okay. And I haven't started putting this out there as any sort of official thing, but what I tend to have for every card is the fight where while I was watching the tape, I just got bored and I didn't care, and it all sort of ran together in my head, and I can't even remember anything that happened, and this ended up being that fight for me. Yes. My notes for this fight are like 3 sentences. I was just like, awesome. I don't have much to say. I got bored. I think it's going to be a tepid 15-minute kickboxing match that's going to be close, and that's about all I have to say about it. Cool. I don't know.
Yeah, man, we don't need to talk about it if we straight up don't even need to talk about it. That's it.
That's the beauty about going long on the fights that we want to go long on, is that we could go nice and short on our Antonina Shevchenko's versus Courtney Casey fights.
We can do a quick trivia question.
We should, as TV pulls up the next fight, we definitely.
I did, even though I didn't really enjoy taping the fight, I did take time to write a trivia question about it. So here you go. Before beginning her MMA training, Courtney Casey was a high-level college player in what sport?
Was it soccer?
It was.
Oh, nice, that was going to be my thought. She's got that look. I don't know like how to describe it, but like, No, it's like the legs. You know what I mean? Like the soccer players, like they like I don't know. Courtney's got like that. I don't know.
I think it's part of. I remember hearing somebody talk about it on the broadcast. That's a good one.
But yeah, she didn't start MMA training until she was 22 years old, and then took her first amateur fight 3 years later.
There you go.
Well, ain't that a damn thing? I'm loving these trivia questions. This is
Very
great.
fun. Make sure you're following Erik Bets Fights for possible more trivia questions or also good bets, which is
I do put out a show called Mixed Martial Smarts, which is a trivia show that I put out for every UFC card, and it's questions about the fighters on that card. So kind of questions such as these. So
that'll be a fun time. Make sure you hop in with Erik.
Yeah, on the you can find that on the Never Hedge Media YouTube channel.
Never Hedge Media.
Plug
Never
over.
Hedge. There you go. That's beautiful. I love it. Make sure you're following Erik everywhere he can be found. His Instagram, Twitter. He's got the Never Hedge platform, which is awesome. Love to see him out there getting all that action in. And here we are. We're on to our next fight. We got Cody Brundage versus Tresean Gore. We got our Factory X versus, Tresean working a little fight ready, a little MMA lab this time out, and is, moving around a few different places. But, I just ultimately, Gore should have this from the physicality standpoint, but, we've seen this play before, and, Gore, you can't really trust his output or overall experience level. I certainly see why this line is super close, and I don't specifically have a crazy play on this fight myself. I just think, for me, fading Brundage so heavily last time out because of how much I hated his game, even with how inexperienced Gore is, I just really don't want to go and play Brundage even as the dog here. I'd be tempted to touch Gore, but I just, as much as I'm tempted to touch, it's just that we're not going to do it. That's it.
That's funny. I really wanted to make a joke about that, but I guess I'll leave it alone. So I'm all over the place. It's basically the line is super fair. Like this is basically where I lined it. So that kind of tells me maybe not to touch it. I like Brundage as a slight dog. It's a fairly dichotomous fight. Tresean Gore needs a knockout. Brundage needs to spam wrestle. Be very interesting to see who can do what. I think Cody, like why I kind of lean towards Cody is because we watched Gore not only get controlled against the cage by Brian Battle, but we just see his general kickboxing stance. Like he's very susceptible to leg kicks. He's very susceptible to getting that single leg stolen. Like he stands very straight up. So if Brundage just blitzes forward and wraps him, gets a good lock around his hips like that, like he can take him down. I think I really do. He struggled to take down Dalcha Lagambula, but that dude's a fucking if there's sizes of like massive muscles of humans, like Tresean Gore is like again a muscly, massive, huge person, and then Dalcha Lagambula is like he like ate him. Like he's so fucking big and muscular, and he also fought William Knight, who's like even bigger and more like they out of the UFC must hate him in terms of like Cody Brundage in terms of that. So it's like super, super interesting. At the end of the day, it's more of a fade on like Alaska FC, right? Like I don't fucking trust that place at all. He hasn't really fought anybody. He's kind of got like an attitude problem. Tresean Gore, he's got like this mojo I don't really enjoy. I know you should really be confident in yourself, but like just the way he was talking to Brian about feeling like he was like he should have been the tough winner and all this stuff, and even how he felt about after he lost the fight pretty clearly, I thought after he felt like he won and like all this crap, it's just like, dude, like focus on maybe getting better instead. Like I don't know. Yeah, very, very interesting. Shockingly, I end up on the dog, but I don't like Gore by knockout. I don't know what's the prop on that. Like Gore by knockout at plus 300. Like that's too steep probably. But Brundage again only been knocked out by elbows by William Knight, and Gore. As much as we want to shit on William Knight, Tresean Gore is not William Knight. Like William Knight would, I think, crush Tresean Gore. So, what do you think, Erik?
While I was doing the tape for this fight, this was one of those where I was kind of, I think, TB mentioned, or one of you guys mentioned about just something about just Cody Brundage's game in general. And he's one of those guys that I feel like I still don't understand who he is as a fighter. I don't really understand what he's good at or what he's trying to do, if that makes any sense. Like I don't have a read on him very well yet. And so while I was watching the tape on this fight, I felt like I wasn't getting much. So I posted on Twitter just saying like, hey, does anybody have thoughts on Gore versus Brundage that they want to share? And a ton of people were like, Gore by KO, easy KO for Gore. Like a bunch of people were like thinking that this was a walk in the park for Gore. And I guess I'm just not seeing that. I don't know where that idea is coming from. Not that Gore can't knock Cody Brundage out. I mean, certainly that can happen, but I don't know where people were getting the idea that this was a foregone conclusion. Gore doesn't throw punches, for one thing. He likes to just kind of hang out and not
Very
throw punches.
output.
And not that these were necessarily like big flush shots, but in that first round, Dalcha punched Cody Brundage in the face about 300 times. And Cody Brundage just looked bored and was like, all right, well, but so those were kind of like little rabbit punches in close. So it's a little different, but still. And I was really undecided on this fight. And then I was looking at some stats just earlier this afternoon, right before we popped on here. And I saw that Cody Brundage has 25% takedown accuracy and Tresean Gore has 87% takedown defense. Obviously very small sample sizes here, so we don't want to read into that too much. But, I do think Cody Brundage probably needs to be able to get the wrestling going to win this fight. I don't know how much I trust him to do that. But yeah, this is another one of those spots where I'd probably go grandma's couch cushions on a prop like the Tresean Gore KO or something like that. It's not a spot that I'm really interested in putting any real money on.
Yeah, and listen, Cody Brundage won round 3 versus Nick Maximov, who's a good wrestler in his own right and a good grappler in his own right. And then Dalcha Lugambula has the major background in the wrestling and the judo. Like, so I get why he wasn't really able to get it going here against somebody who's just a kickboxer, who's got a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Like, there's major levels here. So if Tresean Gore is able to keep it standing, I think Tresean Gore knocks him out towards the end of round 1, maybe round 2 or something. But even still, like, it's not a foregone conclusion at all. I don't even like the Gore prop like that, because what I saw from Gore is, and I was saying it to TB earlier, is like, he is so low output. He totally picks his shots. It's a problem. So not super low level MMA at the end of the day. Not something I want high exposure on. I think we can move on to the next one. Unless
do we have any trivia as we go on to our last second addition to this card?
Fight.
Cody Brundage is married to what professional fighter who went 3-0 on Tough and 2-4 in the octagon?
What's her face?
Emily Whitmire?
Oh my God, shut up. I know her fucking name. Oh my God, what's her? Oh my God. Can you give me initials? Give me something. I know her fucking name.
ABC.
Oh my God.
That's even her nickname.
Yeah,
it was.
Fuck. Oh, I know it.
All right, he ran out of time. That's it.
Yeah, I know it. I'm so annoyed.
Cut him off. Give it to us.
Amanda Bobby Cooper, although she's Amanda Bobby Brundage
Cooper,
now,
Amanda
I think.
Cooper,
Yeah.
Okay.
Amanda Cooper. Yes. Fuck.
Yeah. So here we go. We got
I hate myself.
David Onama getting a last-minute replacement fight against, what is this? Old friend from the amateur scene, Garrett Armfield. They had a fight before. This was with 3-minute rounds. I think they had some shin pads on. No, not really. But you got Onama winning by decision in that fight. And Armfield, he shows some stand switching. He shows that he's like capable in there. Now he's training at Sanford MMA. I think, we've seen some solid improvements.
No longer Sanford, which is ridiculous.
Huh?
It's no longer Sanford MMA.
What happened?
Didn't they rename it?
It's called like Kill something.
Kill Cliff bought it. Like
yeah.
their fucking energy drink. I sent that to you. It's now Kill Cliff.
No way. I like kind of skimmed over and missed that. I saw that in the notes of where he was fighting out of, and I thought it was like bullshit. And I saw Sanford. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, yeah, he's at Sanford. That makes more sense.
Everyone at Sanford brings it an energy drink.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, Sanford was like a health company. At least that like made some sense because that was their
Right. So
sponsor.
then I guess the
New
advertisement, the
sponsor.
sponsor was up. They got a new sponsor. That
Yeah,
makes
there you
sense.
go. Izzy drinks it. There you go. Okay,
Izzy
so
drinks it. Joe Rogan has his own one. Izzy has his own one. They have a line of them. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I would
gotcha.
try one because of them.
Yeah.
But
Here's a quick bit of Eric trivia. I actually worked at Sanford Health for 5 years.
there you go.
Look at that. Yeah.
Look
So
at that.
ultimately, I mean, like I don't have any. There's no lines. I have nothing here. Sorry, guys. Guru.
We don't have any lines on DraftKings either.
No, nothing.
Okay.
It's Onama by decision is where I lean.
Yeah. What do we have a bet online line? I mean, just like a best fight odds line. Do we have anything? Oh, by the way, I had the whole thing teed up on Bet MMA. Should I be putting a unit down on the Caio Bahayo fight to go the distance? You want to wait? Let's wait. Anyway,
I like told you to lay it. Why is this?
no, because I wanted to make sure it was a full unit.
Right.
I had it pulled up.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, 1 unit. Consider it done, everybody.
Okay.
Sorry to get TB mad at me.
It's -700 Onama, so fuck that.
Yeah. So no.
It's gonna be Onama by decision. It'll be like +300, and that'll be what I play. But like for $5 before the fight starts, as I'm sitting there with Guru sipping on my JMO, and yeah, I know Mushroom. I know inside the distance fight doesn't go the distance. Violence. It's a short notice fight. The guy's up at 145, where he's normally a 135er. But they have fought each other before, so I think some of that mystique, some of that, whatever, like, he has a chip on his shoulder, and I think making it to the decision is like one of those fade the narrative spots. But I listen, like I said, $5 sitting there drunk with Guru before the fight starts.
Yeah, that does sound good too. I mean, I kind of, yeah, he lost by rear naked choke in CFFC 95. He has a unanimous decision loss to Ronnie Lawrence. But other than that, the dude's been fairly solid. Like, he may actually belong here in the UFC. He literally fought 30 days ago to the day we're doing this podcast. He fought in May. He won in 33 seconds, took absolutely no damage. Hit the dude with a sweet uppercut, and it was night-night. So, yeah, the dude probably belongs here. I think it'll be an interesting fight. I almost kind of like Onama in like the over 1.5 or something, but it's going to be juice to the tits. So, no thanks. We can move on.
Eric, anything to add on this one?
I didn't get a chance to look into this fight at all yet. So while you guys were talking, I looked up a trivia question quick.
Yes!
So I can at least.
That's way more important than a breakdown. I need
Perfect.
I'm doing a similar thing to what we did earlier with the Vanilla Gorilla. So I looked up David Onama here. His nickname is the Silent Assassin. Obviously, Vicente Luque is also the Silent Assassin. But if we reach way back to Tough 2, we would find the first fighter in the UFC to be nicknamed the Silent Assassin. Who is that fighter? Heck, I'll just be nice and give you a hint. He was the runner-up on Tough 2.
Court McGee won that
there's
one,
our
right?
Uncle Weezy. How you doing,
Uncle
man?
Weezy.
Hey,
Good to
Uncle
see
Weezy,
you.
what's going on, brother? Court McGee won Tough 2, right? No, Court McGee won Tough 10.
Daz asked the question: is
Tough
this
2.
Fight
What?
Night or Dana White Contender
I'm all
Series?
over the place.
Great question.
Tough 10 was won by Tony Ferguson. Tough 2 was won by.
Tell you what, I'll tell you who the winner was.
Was it
the winner?
It was Bisping.
The winner was Joe.
No, Bisping was 3.
Stevenson.
Stevenson was 2.
And the guy we're looking for is the guy who lost to Joe Stevenson in the finals. He was the original Silent Assassin.
Joe Daddy Stevenson.
He's a super weird guy who made a bunch of YouTube videos like 10 years ago of him literally like losing his mind, like doing like handstands in his apartment and saying the names of Transformers and stuff. Like he went real weird.
Okay.
And I've been Facebook friends with him for a long time, and I used to chat with him a little bit during this time. So I've gotten to know the guy a little bit years ago. But
Okay.
Anyway, it's
Who is
Luke
he?
Kumo.
Nope, wasn't gonna get that one.
All right,
Luke
all right.
Kumo.
Original Silent Assassin. All right, bro.
They called him on season 2. They called him this season's Diego because he was kind of a weirdo. He was
like
kind
it.
of the weird guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Diego
That
was a
makes
fucking
sense.
weirdo that first season.
So
That's funny as
we
well.
got another weirdo of a fight here. Kennedy Nzechukwu, and we got Carl Robertson.
Roberson.
I
think it's Roberson.
It's Robertson.
I think Carl himself said that it was pronounced like Robertson without the T, didn't he?
Yes, exactly. It's
I
Carl
think he was
Robertson.
to say that it was
Yeah,
Robertson.
I know it is.
You know what? Well,
Yeah.
sorry, Carl.
Yeah.
But fuck you, TV.
Fuck you,
that?
Guru. Good
Fuck
job,
you,
guys.
TV.
Anyways, yes.
Fuck you.
Welcome to the live. Hey, what's going on, guys? We got Effie hopping in from the Any Action Sportcast. He's in his bitch, and so are we. We are breaking down our last couple fights here, people. We got Kennedy and Nzechukwu, and he is minus 135. The man that probably should have won his last fight against Nikolai Negumereanu. But yeah, that was a Yambags fight. I know Lou Daddy had that one. And yeah, I mean, it's just, if Carl Robertson was actually a real light heavyweight, I would have no problem saying that he wins this fight. It's just like he should be at 185. His body can't make that cut at this point. And he's probably like mad close. But like, he's giving up 4 inches of height. He's giving up 9 inches of reach. He's giving up 6 inches of leg reach. They're both southpaws. And Carl Robertson loves subbing people, and the only person to sub Kennedy was the GOAT, Paul Craig.
Paul Craig!
There he is. There's the guru getting his Paul Craig in. But, I mean, listen, it's Carl Robertson. Like, if there was anything funny I would want to play here, it's Carl Robertson by sub. But, like, it's at plus 400. They already know not to put it at plus 1,000. So I'm not no touching for me. There's no way. There's no point. Like, I'm trying to make money here, not bet on Kennedy and Nzechukwu and Carl Robertson. So
yeah, I really like Carl Robertson. You know, he's a guy from our area. So I respect him. I'd love to have him on the show and that kind of thing. But like, you know, I hope you don't hear this, Carl. But you're
he's not coming on the show,
you don't really belong here, bud. You really haven't shown us that you belong.
Not at 205. No,
dude, not really. Anyway, I mean, he somehow beat Ryan Spann in his Dana White Contender Series debut in 2017, and that was his best win. That was his best win. He beat Darren Stewart. Great. Lost to Cesar Ferreira. Not good. Beat Jack Marshman. Cool, bro. Lost to Glover Teixeira. That was like his claim to fame, that he
knocked him down too
for a couple seconds. Yeah, so does everybody knocks down.
Yeah.
Right. So
whatever. But I mean, Vitorian
a split decision win versus Turman. Great. A sub win over Kopylov in the most boring fight ever in the 3rd round. Great. And then losses to Vittori, Brennan Allen, and Roundtree. You know, not the least impressive of which would be the loss to Allen, in my opinion. And then the body kicked, lost Hook's body kick KO bullshit to Roundtree is terrible. So I don't see why Carl Robertson can't. I mean, I don't see why in Nzechukwu can't do the same thing here. I don't really care about betting this fight. I've already broken it down way longer than I thought it would. I'm on Kennedy just as a fade to Carl. But what's the line? Money line? Fucking, I haven't even looked. That's how little. Minus 135 plus 115. Yeah, as it should be. Whatever. Well, oh my god, dude, you have to be on Kennedy, and here's why. Fucking 10-inch, 9-inch reach advantage. What the fuck is that? He's 4 inches taller, 9-inch reach advantage, and a year younger. Blindly, those guys win 63% of the time. Next. What do you got, Eric? Before I go next, we will respect our guests. But come on, what the fuck is this fucking fight? What do you got?
Like, I mean, this is one of those spots where, you know, you either stay away or you bet something weird for fun. But yeah, like I agree with what TB said largely, that, you know, if these guys were the same size, it might be a different story. And I did a written breakdown for the Never Hedge newsletter this week for the first time. And part of what I said in the newsletter was like, I think the Kennedy that fought Carlos Ulberg in round 2 is like a comfortable minus 200 in this fight. The Kennedy that fought Da Un Jung is like plus 666. Like, you don't know. It's kind of like there's been a lot of fighters we've said this about over the years, but Vitor is the one that always comes to mind, which Vitor is going to show up. Kennedy, there's a lot of different versions of the man. It's like he's playing a video game and he selects which Kennedy he's going to be before each fight. And is he going to come out and have a weird performance where he just shells up and stands there until he gets knocked out like he did against Da Un Jung? Like, if Kennedy comes out and has the best performance he's capable of having, I think he wins this fight, and probably pretty comfortably. But he's just not a guy who has shown me that I can trust him to bet on him at this point. But as you guys mentioned, there's a whole lot going for Kennedy here if he does come out and fight to the best of his abilities.
Very true, Prince. I saw that he doesn't really use his reach advantage very well. You're totally right. There's a bunch of fighters that are like that. And Uncle Wheezy, he likes the point deduction, and I don't blame Uncle Wheezy either. The Yam Bag point deduction is, of course, plus 2,000 on DraftKings.
The Lou Bet You special.
So, I actually have a loose dollar. I'm going to throw on that as well.
Fuck it. So now we got to one of our most interesting fights of the night, and it's to kick our card off, which is super interesting.
Yeah, ready to either start the card off with a bang or start it off like throwing things and depressed and drinking a lot more.
All right. I mean, listen, we don't.
No, come on. I'm kidding. No, that's good bankroll management. But no, seriously, I think.
All right, Guru. You're putting the cart before the horse. We didn't even break down the fight. You're talking about a bet, right? Right? Okay, so what we got here is Ronnie Lawrence minus 140 and Kakramanov plus 120. What we also got is, if you were following our Bet MMA, you would know what bet we have on this fight already, and I could have let Guru keep on going. Instead, we got to tell you what's going to happen here. So, yeah, for sure. So here we are, guys. We got Ronnie Lawrence, who's getting 7.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's shooting 8.7, but it's not Vince Cachero anymore, Ronnie Lawrence. That's the only issue. However, we go back to the tape on Kakramanov, and this is Kakramanov that we're dealing with. Someone that gave up, 9 minutes of control time to Trevin Jones. Those hips are available. Ronnie Lawrence is getting in there. And, yeah, it's probably a decision. Ronnie Lawrence really doesn't like finishing anybody. So they even don't have the method posted yet, but over 2.5 is minus 185. Ronnie Lawrence minus 140. So you got to figure you're getting decision at like plus 150, something like that. Or Ronnie Lawrence and over 1.5. Maybe we could get that at like a plus 120. Like this is all, thinking about it because, fucking DraftKings not giving us the lines. There goes our potential DraftKings sponsorship. But yeah, so, okay, now Guru, if you would like to.
Yeah, no, you already said it. It's all good. There's not really much to say. Ronnie Lawrence is one of the safest spots on the night for sure. I'm very confused why the line is so close. Kakramanov is, good prospect, but I'm not really sure what he's going to be able to do here. He seems to be fairly finish dependent. Ronnie Lawrence is a fucking beast. Yeah, you're going to have to, Ronnie Lawrence is going to have to get stuffed and gas out, and then Kakramanov would have to take over. But we've seen that Kakramanov doesn't have great takedown defense per se, or, great get up game, or breaking out of control positions. So we like Ronnie Lawrence here, minus 130. I think we got him at. Now he's minus 140. So I think that line will keep going up because I'm not really sure why it's as light as it is. So yeah, what do you think there, Eric?
Yeah, a lot of the points that I made about Ricky Tercios, I would make those same points about Ronnie Lawrence. Like, he's a guy who's going to come out. He's going to fight for your dollar. He's going to look to put the fight in spots where he's going to have the upper hand. He's not going to accept being put in bad positions. The guy's always moving, looking where he can pepper with shots until he finds his spot to shoot his big takedown. I mean, we know Ronnie Lawrence's game. It's all there for the most part, and he does, look to use the parts of his game that work well for him and that get him where he needs to be. And yeah, Said Yakuba, I think he's got some solid skills. I think that he's somebody who's kind of still putting it all together. And I think at this point in their careers, this should be a win for Ronnie Lawrence. And I agree, probably a decision. I don't mind looking at, did one of you guys say that Ronnie Lawrence's decision prop? It was like plus.
No, I was
150 or something.
Hypothesizing.
Oh, okay.
Not sure if FanDuel has it posted at this point.
DraftKings doesn't.
DraftKings does not, which is
so FanDuel definitely doesn't.
Sketchy.
Oh, by the way, we have David Onama line is up on FanDuel.
Oh,
minus 850 and plus 500 for Garrett. So yikes is right.
And yeah, so we're still just looking at money lines, at least on DraftKings. And
I also see Ronnie Lawrence at nearing minus 150 now on FanDuel. So you. So yeah, so that I think right, Eric, you like Ronnie as well. So
I do.
So I think that kind of wraps up the card, right? This crazy yam bag filled wacky card.
Yeah, as our buddy Daz said it, I'll bring it up one more time because I think it's like super true. Is this Dana White
12
Contender
fights.
Series Tuesday night, or are we looking at a UFC Fight Night? Is
What
this
are you talking
Fight
about?
Night? Is this Fight Night or Dana White's Contender Series? Like we got some sketchy
Oh, we got
fights
a lot of
here.
those fights.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very
like
sketchy fights. Yeah.
so. Appreciate
That
all you guys hopping in the chat. Like, make sure
Super
you throw a
card.
like, subscribe, and hope you guys are enjoying. And make sure you let us know in the comment section what your best bet is and what you guys got going on for this crazy card.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Seriously, thanks so much for tuning in. You can follow our awesome guest, right, at Erik Bets Fights. At Erik Bets Fights, man. He's the fucking goat. Make sure you're checking him out on his platforms. Eric, you want to do a quick plug, bud?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, you can find me at, as you mentioned, at Erik Bets Fights on Twitter, at Erik_Bets_Fights on Instagram, also at Erik Bets Fights on YouTube. And I also put out some stuff on the Never Hedge Media YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm doing like something like 5 shows a week now or something. I don't know. I wasn't planning on letting it get to that point, but these things just slip away from us, and all of a sudden there we are, right? So that's where I'm at now. So you can find me all over the place. So yeah, please do.
No, absolutely. We love that. Thanks so much for being a part of our show, man. We really, really appreciate your time and
Thanks
all
for
that
having
shit
me.
tonight. Yeah, seriously, you're fucking great, man. For sure. So make sure you follow me at Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram Tapology, Bet MMA, Chronic Combat, and then my awesome co-host at TV Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram Tapology. Guys, if you're not watching us on YouTube, make sure you're checking us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Like, we're out there. So make sure you're checking us out. And thanks for tuning in. Make sure you come by next week, right? We've got Brian T. City Ortega taking on Yair Rodriguez. All right, like that's a fucking pretty crazy card, guys.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby's right. So we should have a sick guest on, hopefully, and yeah, gonna be a good ass time.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. Well, take care.